don't know if it's very personal, but I would like to know what is the core value, what was the biggest motivation that pushed you and your wife to decide to go forward with treatment? And then my second question is, you get to see many nurses, and as we are going to be nurses, what was something that stood out to you that nurses do that made your stay in the NICU better, or what would you recommend nurses to do in such situations?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Mary was just very, very adamant that we try everything to save the baby, and what eventually turned me around is I made a phone call to our priest, and I said, okay, so I'm 90% there with it, that we should go for the treatment, but I'm just still kind of wavering, what if we are really, inflicting a lot of pain on this kid? And he said, well, you don't want this to become something that comes between you and Mary. You should just go for it. And so it's just, for at that exact moment, my reason for going forward was simply because my wife told me to. And so that's what we did. The second question about the nurses, one is simply giving, explanations of all of the care that is going on, what each tube does. That meant a lot to us, and we didn't feel like we were being talked down to in those conversations. These little posters that they would make once a month and put on the walls that say, Gabriel, 1 month old today, and they made a collage of various stickers and things that that might come out of a preschool, and then they put his footprints on it and then posted it up above his incubator once a month. And then we were there on Mother's Day and Father's Day, and they made additional little collages for that. And I mean, I'm not telling you that the crafts or arts and crafts are the way to serve families, but when we were in antepartum, there were most of the nurses were quite supportive of Mary's decision to go. Others were a little condescending, to say something like, well, I know why you're doing this, but and we'll keep going for you, keep going for you. It's like, okay, we know you just can't let go, and that's why you're sticking with this. And it's like, well, I know why you're doing it, and this kind of let's humor let's humor the person who just doesn't get it, sort of a tone. And that annoyed us a little bit, made us feel uncomfortable, like, okay, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. And when you're in that kind of a medical crisis, you're a very vulnerable person. And you've got huge amounts of guilt over it, because you're absolutely convinced that you've done something to cause this. And so, you're as irresponsible as a person who's gone driving around town in a car with no brakes. And so now the car is broken down beside the road. Should you just walk away from it? One more problem that goes wrong with it. Maybe you will say yes to giving up your car. Not the best metaphor, but so you feel like you got about 1% of your energy left to hang on to things, and the tiniest little thing can knock you off of that 1%.